Joining us now from the Perth studio is Arthur Darivas from Trans-Pacific Energy Group. Arthur, great to see you again. Would you mind catching us up on what's been happening since you and I last spoke at the end of last year?
Well, thanks for having me, Danielle. A lot's been happening in Trans-Pacific. We've actually done interviews in New York and London with the company, so we've been doing a lot of international work. The main news about Trans-Pacific at the moment is we continue to do a lot of exploratory work on our assets in Western Australia. We continue to develop our technology base and also continuing to develop our baseline projects in Argentina. So there's been a lot of good work going on. The more progressive work is actually happening in Western Australia, and that's why I'm in Perth this week. There are a lot of people to discuss the projects. There's a lot of activity. It's all very progressive and very positive for us in Western Australia at the moment. Clearly, as we discussed last year, Lake Indaguda and Kathleen Valley, the two flagship projects, they continue to go to another level. I've also brought into the studio Neil Hutchinson to discuss the projects. Neil's on our advisory board, so you can give a more geological update on those projects. But the projects continue to develop, they continue to excite us. It's very positive. We just keep ticking the boxes as we go along. And it's actually a very good place to be for us at the moment. And we're getting a lot of support, particularly out of Western Australia.
Wonderful to hear. The projects are progressing well. Let's talk about your strategy from a higher level, shall we?
Yeah.
You are, of course, focused on those battery minerals, those technology metals. In terms of the current roadmap, where is Trans-Pacific at with its progress towards its end goals?
Well, we continue to focus on those metals that we've discussed all along: the nickel, the copper, the cobalt, the lithium. We always find some gold in Western Australia as well, and we need to deal with that. But from a base metals point of view, it is still the strategy. The demand for those minerals is still very strong. The demand from the sector is still very strong, and we continue to get a lot of interest. A lot of the financing and funding that we're getting is coming from international markets, which is good for us as well. So we're seeing that there is genuine interest in our projects. We continue to do a lot of work on our technology as well. So we're starting to organise a separate entity for the technology. We're starting to look at the type of professionals we need to commercialise the technology going forward. So strategy is still very clear for us. Direction is very clear. And north is very clear for us. We tend to want to work more around proving up our resources. So, as we had a good run on capital last year, we've been putting a lot of that money into the ground, and we're seeing the results of that work as well. So that is a key part of our strategy, that we want to prove up the resources that we've got, and that's very important.
Can you tell us more about how you'll be balancing your priorities between developing the projects and developing this technology arm of the business?
The projects have been lined up very clearly from our point of view in terms of probability of outcome, probability of success, and we've prioritised them accordingly. We've organised a separate legal entity and a separate agenda for our technology. We don't want to overlay technology and exploration. I think they're two different agendas. They're both relevant to one another, particularly in the magnesium and the lithium space. But we do focus on technology through a very focused lens, and we focus on exploration through another lens as well. We tend not to try and mix the two up.
How do you see market outlook for the various commodities you're leveraged to here in Australia and around the world for the rest of this year?
Well, that's a good question. Everyone we talk to saying that particularly second half of the year, the kind of commodities that we're talking about, the nickel, the copper, are going to be very strong. Gold is on the way back. Cobalt's had a bit of a bumpy road, but I think it'll sort itself out. And certainly I see lithium progressively getting stronger as well. So I think the commodity side is very, very good for us. There's a few issues out there in terms of, China, the US, but underlying the commodities that we're in are very progressive and quite solid.
Finally, Arthur, what are those next big milestones for Trans-Pacific Energy Group?
Well, the next big milestones, and I'll get Neil to talk about them, is clearly doing more work at Lake Indigoota and at Kathleen Valley. We have some extensive drill programs set aside for the other projects in Western Australia. And certainly also, and I'm going back to Argentina in 10 days from now to start a similar kind of definition in Argentina as well. So it's more about the field programs that we've got to execute.
Arthur Darivas, thank you.
Thanks, Danielle.